Welcome back to the class on semiconductor devices. I will begin with understanding the diamond lattice, the lattice in which silicon crystallizes. So silicon does not crystallize in silicon lattice, but it's called diamond lattice. As we have discussed, the diamond lattice consists of two interpenetrating face-centered cubic lattices. So let us look at this picture. This is a cube, and let's say the edge of the cube is, let's say, A. So if you see at each corner of the crystal or this cubic cell, there are atoms, right? So there are 8 corners and we have 8 atoms at the corners. Then there are atoms at each face. So there are 6 atoms at the faces. And then if you look carefully, there are atoms inside the cell. So there are 4 atoms, and these atoms are a quarter along the diagonal. So if this cube has side length A, then the length of the diagonal, the body diagonal, will be root 3 times A. And this atom is at 1 quarter, so the distance of this atom, so the distance xz will be root 3 times A divided by 4. Now you can also see this atom inside the cube, it is connected to 4 atoms. So from this you can determine what is the coordination number. So in this case the coordination number will be 4. And if you want to calculate the packing fraction, so total how many atoms are there, you can count. There are 8 atoms at corners, plus there are 6 atoms at face, so that will be 6 times 1 by 2, so that is 3. Then there are 4 atoms inside the body, so there are total 8 atoms are there, and they are inside cube of side length A. So packing fraction will be 8 divided by A cube. Now this is the GIF, so which you can see, you can visualize, in 3D here. So how this crystal actually look like. Now to look at xz carefully, so this xz is 2r because these are the nearest atoms. So these nearest atoms have length root 3 a by 4, and because if the radius is r of one sphere, then this distance should be 2r. And how this is root 3 a by 4? Because this is 1 by 4 along one axis. Let's say xw, let's say this is x axis, then this y axis will have another a by 4. So this lower diagonal here in the plane will be root 2a by 4, and then this is also a by 4 on the y distance. So xz will be root 3a by 4. Now if you see here, you can do some calculations also. So if the lattice constant, because silicon crystallizes in diamond lattice, its lattice constant is 5.4307 angstrom. So nearest neighbor spacing will be root 3 a by 4, which comes out to be 2.35. So lattice constant is 5.43, but nearest neighbor distance is less than that. And there are 8 atoms per unit cell. So the 8 atom density will be number of atoms in a volume. So there will be 8 atoms, and the volume of the cell is a cube. So that comes out to be around 4.99 into 10 raised to power 22 per cubic centimeter. Although SI unit is SI unit is per cubic meter, but in semiconductor we usually deal with per cubic centimeter, so that will be kind of consistent. Now if you note here, this is the density of atoms per cubic centimeter, is order of 10 raised to power 22. If you recall from introduction to electronics or basic electronics, what is the intrinsic carrier concentration? And that's around 10 raised to power 10 per cubic centimeter. So that is 10 raised to power 12 order of magnitude less than the atom density. So that means 10 out of 10 raised to 12 atom, only one atom is contributing electron. So that is much less. That's why conductivity is less. However, this conductivity can be improved by technique called doping, which we will discuss. Now, the atomic mass of silicon is 28 atomic mass unit AMU, and 1 AMU is 1.66 into 10 raised to power minus 27 kg. So, by understanding this lattice, you can also calculate the density. Now, what will be the density? Density will be number of atom 8 and their mass, which will be 28 times 1.66 times minus 27, and divided by the volume of the cell. So that comes out to around 2.3296 gram per cubic centimeter. I hope that will help. Now let us discuss about the lattice vectors for directions and the planes. Now let us discuss about quantifying lattices. The thing that is used to quantify lattices is called lattice or basis vectors, and there is a concept of Miller indices that are used to describe planes and their directions. For example, if you consider a simple cubic cell, its three axes are along x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, and all these three sides are equal. So let's say they are all are a naught. So let's assume this is a cube with a naught, okay, side length a naught. So these directions are expressed as combination of these three vectors: a naught along x direction, a naught x cap, a naught y cap, that is b vector, c vector will be a naught z cap. And if you look for certain directions, so you have this body diagonal, so this point will be a naught x cap plus a naught y cap plus a naught z cap. So if you take a naught common, then this is basically x cap plus y cap plus z cap. So you can say this is 1 1 1 direction. The bracket, please note here, the bracket used is square bracket. So this is one direction along body diagonal. Similarly, you have a diagonal at the bottom face in xy plane. So here you have this direction, a naught times x cap plus a naught times y cap. So if you take a naught common, you have x cap plus y cap, and z component is 0. So this plane is 1 1 0. So that way you can this direction is 1 1 0. That way you can define any direction. There is a way to define equivalent direction. So please note two types of bracket. Square bracket, they define particular direction, and this triangular bracket, they define equivalent directions. For example, for a cube, it's symmetric along x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. So 1 0 0 along x-axis, 0 1 0 along b vector or y-axis, or 0 0 1 along z-axis or c vector. So they are equivalent, so they can be described by triangular bracket 1 0 0. So this triangular bracket 1 0 0 describes all these 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 0 1 directions. In fact, uh, minus a vector, minus b vector, and minus c vector will also be equivalent. So that you can say basically minus 1 0 0 or 0 minus 1 0 or 0 0 minus 1. But we do not represent them with a minus sign. Instead, we use a bar. So if there's a vector along minus a direction, so we will use bar 1 0 0. If there's a vector along minus y axis or minus b vector, we will use 0 bar 1 0. Similarly, for minus z axis, we will use 0 0 bar 1. So these are equivalent directions. Now, how do they relate to the plane? So for example, if you see a plane here, let's say this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is z-axis. So this is basically uh, this plane is cutting x-axis at say some point a naught, right? And it is not intersecting with y and z axis. So that means intersection is at infinity. So there is an intersection at a infinity and infinity. So this is basically perpendicular to x-axis. So there is a plane perpendicular to 100 direction, and that plane is uh, in parenthesis 100. So you note the difference. This parenthesis 100 is direct is plane 100, and square bracket 100 is a direction 100. Similarly, you have 110. So that plane intersect x-axis at a naught, y-axis at a naught, and z-axis at infinity. So that is plane 100. Similarly, plane 111, it intersect x-axis at a naught, y-axis at a naught, and z-axis at a naught. Now it is very interesting to note that a plane described by certain indices h, k, l, you can represent these three numbers as, you can also write it as h, k, and l, right? So this plane HKL is perpendicular to direction HKL. So there is a procedure how to find out the Miller indices of a plane. If you want to determine the plane similar indices, you find out what is the intersect. So for example, a plane here intersect, let's say this plane intersect at 2a along x-axis, 2a along y-axis, and at infinity along z-axis. So you note down these three intercept for x, y, and z. You take their inverse. So 1y x intercept, 1y y intercept, 1y z intercept. So that will become 1 by 2, 1 by 2, and 1 by infinity is 0. Then you rationalize them. So you can rationalize them by multiplying by 2. So you have 1 0 0 plane. If you have, let's say, intercept at x intercept at a naught, y intercept at a naught, and z intercept at infinity, that will also give you 110 plane. That means these two planes are identical, because you know your unit cell is repeating after a, right? So these are basically they are same plane, not just equivalent, they are same planes. So your cell is repeating after each unit a, distance a. So intercepted a, intercepted 2a, intercepted 3a, they are basically same plane. Now what is the origin of this thing? This basically comes from equation of plane. So your plane is described by parenthesis 100, and direction is described by square bracket 100. And we already discussed that equivalent directions are described by triangular brackets or angular brackets, and equivalent planes are described by curly brackets. So like 100 direction was equivalent to 010 001 direction, the planes are also equivalent. So all these planes can be described by 100 in curly bracket. And of course, as you've seen here, that for cubic structure and you know all cubic such as FCC, BCC, this HKL is direction is perpendicular to HKL plane. Now how do we know that? Let's write the equation of a plane. So we know that equation of plane is x y x intercept plus y intercept plus z y z intercept equal to 1. So if you want to know the normal to this plane, we can take the derivative of this function, right? Equation of the plane. So df by dx. Now df by dx will be 1 by x intercept. Similarly, df by dy will be 1 by y intercept. So what you get basically 1 by x intercept along x cap, 1 by y intercept along y cap, 1 by z intercept along z cap. So that basically gives you the gradient. So you can note here that with intercept you have 1 by x intercept, 1 by y intercept, 1 by z intercept as the coefficient of equation of plane, and they are also um, coefficient for the gradient. So they basically give the same plane and same normal to the plane. So they can is described by the same HKL value. So for example, 1 to 1 plane, it has intercept at x 2a, at z 2a, at y a, because you have to invert and multiply by 2, so it's other way around. So for 1 to 1 plane, intercept are 2 1 2, right? And then normal to this plane is 1 to 1 vector. Now why what is the purpose of naming these planes? Because when you name them, you can describe you can discuss about different planes, because when we deal with crystal, um, we use these planes for a specific purpose. Now uh, these properties are determined by the number of atoms or plane specific properties for a particular semiconductor, how atoms are arranged. So they describe properties of particular planes. For example, if a plane has more number of atoms, so it will give more opportunity for reaction. For example, silicon 1 1 1 1, right? It is more reactive. So for example, if you have a silicon substrate with 100 surface, if you etch it with potassium hydroxide, it will preferentially etch along 1 1 1 1 plane. So that will not be exactly perpendicular, right? So that will be some slanted, there is some angle, right? So instead of let's say this is silicon surface 100, right? If you etch it, it will not exactly etch perpendicular, right? But it will etch at certain angle, it will etch at certain angle, right? And this angle will be given by the angle between two planes. The angle between two planes will be same as angle between their uh, perpendiculars, right? And you can also calculate what will be the angle between two planes. So let's say HKL 100 and this HKL is, let's say, 111, right? So what will be the angle between them? You can do the dot product. A dot B is AB cosine theta. So cosine theta will be A dot B divided by magnitude of A, magnitude of B. So if you take the dot product, so this will be 1, right? 1 into 1, 0 into 1, 0 into 1, so it will be 1. And then if you take the magnitude, this magnitude is 1, this magnitude will be root 3. So A dot B cosine theta is 1. So AB cosine theta is 1. So cosine theta will be 1 by root 3. So that will give theta certain value, I think 54.7. So you can work it out. So, and these crystal planes are also used to mark the wafer, because once you have the wafer in front of you, there is no way you can figure out, what is the direction. So if you see a typical wafer in the lab, they will have certain markings, and these planes are used to specify, how particular wafer will look like, how 100 plan wafer will be different from 111 wafer, like that. And they are used for pattern element, and of course each um, plane will have different reactivity to materials, because density of electrons, density of atoms is different, and they will have different reconstruction, you know because the arrangement of atoms is different. If you look at for example for FCC, if you look at a surface, let's say 100, you will have 5 atoms. If you look at the diagonal, then you will have different arrangement. If you look at body diagonal, you will have different arrangement. So all these properties are described by these planes. So basically you can do this exercise, or KOH. So because QHH is silicon 100 along 111 plane, so you can find the H angle, and that should come out around 54.7 degree. This slide shows the summary of Miller indices. So in a parenthesis, HKL represent a specific plane. In a square bracket, HKL represent a particular direction, which is perpendicular to HKL plane. Similarly, curly bracket, they represent a set of equivalent planes, and angular bracket, they represent set of equivalent directions. So summary, in first lecture we discussed that current depends on charge and velocity, and this requires that we should know what factors will determine the charge, what factors will determine the velocity. So right now we are discussing what factors will determine the charge. The charge comes from electron, and electrons are in the crystal. So it depends on the constituent atom and their crystal structure. So the semiconductor of interest in this class, we have silicon, germanium, 3,5 gallium arsenide, all those semiconductors, they crystallize in some kind similar to diamond lattice, because in silicon there is only one atom, we call it diamond lattice. In gallium arsenide, it is exactly same as silicon, only difference is that it is called zinc blende, because uh, all the corners and the faces, they are occupied, let's say, by gallium, and these four inside along the diagonal and the atoms, they are arsenic, and vice versa. So um, that constitute um, similar to diamond lattice, but it is called zinc blende in gallium arsenide, because these two atoms are different. But in silicon, all 8 atoms are same, they are silicon atoms. But in gallium arsenide, 4 are gallium and 4 are arsenic. Now these crystal consist of repeating blocks, and the symmetry help us to um, solve the problems. For example, if you have quantum mechanical properties of electron in a crystal, um, once you have a crystal structure, you have some periodicity. So when you solve those Schrodinger equation, you can use that periodicity to simplify the problem. So that we will discuss in next lecture. Thank you very much.